the bigger the problem.
Can I ask one question? Because I guess we've got two different types, or very simplistically, two different types of people. Those who have genuine, deep suffering and have bigger life issues or challenges to be faced. And then we have people who are fairly well off, their lives aren't too bad, but you still have the micro sufferings that, I wish I could be healthier, I wish I could be fitter.
Well, it doesn't matter how there's no such thing to have people. Everybody suffers, okay? Everybody suffers. Okay? I have a client who's very well, very happy, and then his friend died of COVID-19. And all of a sudden I say, oh, life is fragile, I can die anytime. Then I start wondering, what I do? Life is so short. And I have another client who's a top surgeon, and his kid got sick. He said, oh, I wish I could suffer my kid. I mean, we're all successful people. The kid got sick. He feels guilty. Oh, no, maybe I can prevent that. I said, I will suffer, my friend. I'm not saying that run away from suffering makes suffering worse. Run away from suffering brings you all kinds of illness, problems. Run away is not a solution. So the first thing to realize that run away is not a solution. The solution is pause. You know what pause is? In biology, you say flight, fight, or freeze. That freeze, the freeze, the time of freeze means deciding what to do. The moment of freeze is very important for animals. Pause 1 second to decide what your chance of survival by run away or be fighting. 1 split second, okay? There's love and death. So the pause is very important. So therefore, the mindfulness is a big business. What mindfulness teaches you is to pause. Stop. Stop. Stop worrying, stop running, stop thinking. Just calm down and pause. Listen to your breathing. Observe yourself. Observe nature. Observe what's happening. Observe life. Pause. Pause. Mindfulness. Mindful observation or prayer. Ah, God help me. Oh God, I'm dying. Help. Pause. Stand still. Stand still and see how God does the work. Stand still. Pause. So stop running, pause, and face. Take a stand, pause, and face. When you pause, your mind becomes clear. When you do mindful meditation, when you pray, when you pause, that helps clarify your mind. Okay? Now, stop running and pause and start facing it. After you calm down, then you face and see what is happening. Okay? What is happening? The first question you ask, what is happening? In my animal research, it's called, Pavlov called that, what is it? Orienting reflex. They call orienting reflex. It's a reflex in animal kingdom. Pause, okay? In human psychology, it's all publication of that. It means what is happening. I mean, attribution research, what's happening. Okay? I have very influential paper on when people ask why questions, okay? What's happening? Okay? What is happening? Why? What is happening? What do you call it? And thirdly, what can I do about it? See? Coping, right? If I talk, ask myself, what's happening? I'm doing mindful observation. When I ask myself, what's happening? I'm investigating as a scientist. What caused it? Right? What the cause? Rather than, you didn't hear me, or you didn't understand me, or it's your problem. That blame other people, that's not a problem. What the cause? The cause, maybe I forgot. Maybe I did the wrong thing. Maybe I asked the wrong question. Ask yourself the scientific question, what is the cause? Try to find the cause objectively, then you will have a better chance of knowing the cause of the problem so you can solve it, okay?
And Paul, what's so fascinating there is I guess that requires a degree of ability to dissolve your own ego, to kind of probe scientifically and question scientifically and open yourself to being part of the cause requires to dial down that ego.
It requires to be scientist. Scientist. Get the ego out of the way. Ego is the enemy.
Yeah.
The biggest enemy is your ego. I said, a good scientist said, I don't know the cause. What's the cause? Is it me? Or is it other people or the environment? You open-mindedly, what is the cause? You ask the question as a lay scientist and trying to find a solution. If your solution is always other people's fault, then you never find a solution. You're a lousy scientist.
And I suppose, it also requires to not be placing or to not put energy in blame, to allow it to just be, to not put energy on finding blame, but to invest.
Exactly. Stop blaming. Stop. It was the whole word. Stop. Stop blaming. Stop complaining. Stop whining. Stop running. Stop. That's salvation. Salvation starts with stop. Did I scare you? Did I scare you? Stop.
No, I think this was absolutely fascinating. I can see how it can apply to even, day-to-day small things
Of course. Stop.
Yeah.
Before you start fighting your husband or fighting with your kid, stop. Think about what the kid does that this way. What does your husband do this way? Ask yourself, okay, did I cause it? Stop blaming your husband. Oh, it's your fault. Oh, you are uncaring. Oh, you have no love. Oh, you have no empathy. Stop blaming your husband. Say, what's so angry? Did I say anything wrong? Start asking objective questions. Stop blaming. Stop complaining. Stop running. All these things are ruining your life. Stop thinking. Use your brain, my friend. Use your brain. Use your forebrain. Find out.
There was a kind of statement I heard that I think relates to this that I find really powerful, which was like, who benefits from this emotion? So when you are blaming and when you are trying to find kind of cause, is that kind of stop and pause and like, who's benefiting from me feeling bad? Who's benefiting from me placing blame? It's like, well, no one.
Hold me. Let me finish my story, okay? When you pause, right away, you stop all the voices from the ego. When you pause, right? And inquire, say, what's happening? When you start to ask, what's happening? Then you are in a state of inquiry. You are in a mental state of inquiry. So that that shut down all the inner voices. It's their fault, it's other people's fault, other people's fault. Pointing finger. Stop. Stop pointing. Inquiring what's happening. Okay? What's happening? When you ask what's happening, you become scientist. Okay? You become philosopher. When you become a scientist for the cause. When you become a scientist, then many problems in life, many problems in marriage can be solved, my friend. Many problems cannot be solved because it's the ego in a way. Always, I'm right, he's wrong. But when it's changed into a scientist, what is the cause of our conflict? What is the cause of our fight? When you ask a scientific question, right away you say, we fight, but I'm the main cause. My stubbornness is the cause. My pride is the cause. My selfishness is the cause. But then, my husband is the cause. He's the cause. They totally change the picture. They do a lot of stress and suffering, right? When you ask what's the cause, you stop the fight, prevent you from the fight, prevent you from emotional upset, it calms you down, and help you to clarify your mind, help you to think more clearly. See, this is how it works. Okay? Stop, pause. What's happening? Now, the third step is more philosophical now. What is the meaning of what happened? And what should I do about it? What is the best way to do? So that is a philosophical, moral question. Okay? What is the meaning of this happening? And what's the right thing right way to react? So that calls for philosophical, moral consideration. That you become fully human because you become rational as a scientist. You become philosophical and moral as a mature, decent human being. See? Don't say ego-driven, emotion-driven. Most people are ego-driven, emotion-driven, idiots. Most people are idiots. And they cause themselves suffering, cause other people suffering. They never stop and ask, what's happening? What are you doing?
And when you say you kind of investigate what is the meaning of what's happening.
Okay. Now let me tell you. Something happened, okay? When I ask for the meaning, that means everything happened for a reason. What the reason it happened, okay? So that's philosophical question now. Now we're going beyond the science now. We're asking what the purpose of this happening and what does it tell me? For example, pandemic happened, okay? Pandemic happened. It happened. You ask yourself, why do we have the pandemic? Why? Maybe we don't pay enough attention to hygiene. Maybe because we refuse to take vaccination. Well, what the meaning? And that's different story now. We stop being a scientist, start being a philosopher. Okay? What meaning? Maybe the pandemic is a wake-up call. Maybe questioning our lifestyle, questioning our selfish lifestyle. Maybe the pandemic tells us maybe certain animal food, something maybe forbidden, maybe the Bible is correct. That is a forbidden fruit. Maybe we are eating the forbidden fruit. Maybe some animal cannot be eaten. Maybe something cannot be done. Maybe we should learn how to fear God again. rather than denying God exists, pretending God doesn't exist. Maybe that's the trouble. Maybe we begin to link to God, fear God. We begin to care for each other rather than attacking each other, communicate with each other. Because it's global, right? If every country communicate with each other, then the problem can be solved earlier. When we don't communicate with each other, when we don't help each other, we cannot solve the pandemic problem. Like some people anti-vaccine. They will protest, they will not refuse to be vaccinated. That means they don't care about other people, only care about their own freedom. So that's the meaning of it. Then you think about deeper now, not what the cause. I deal with what is the reason for that happening, what the purpose. We'll think about deeper level now. Now, the last thing, how should I respond? So that is the crunch now. What should I do? How should I respond? Wow, if you go through the 3 steps, what it is, what they mean, how should I respond? Your life becomes different, your marriage becomes different. That will change the whole thing. That's transformative. Because you want to ask yourself, how should I respond? You're asking a moral question now. What I ought to do, rather than what I like to do, what profit me, what benefit me. You stop asking me, what benefit me. You're asking, what is the right thing to do? At that point, see, a reorientation occurs. It's not just about me, it's about what is the right thing to do. Wow, that will solve a lot of problems. When I ask yourself what the right thing to do, when I ask yourself what the right thing to do, you become like a decent human being now.
It makes me one thing that's sticking in my head is to ask and to answer that question of how should I respond. It requires, I guess, a level of education or
No. Even a child will know, okay? I have some idea what is right, what is wrong. That should be learned in kindergarten. If people give you a candy or something, it's wrong to throw candy in the floor or hit a person. I mean, what's right, what is wrong? Everybody should know what's right and wrong. You know education. You know what? I'm telling you the truth. Some of the uneducated people are the best people.
I guess I think I meant it more in the sense of being able to contemplate actions that sit above your own desires. That level of education.
Let me explain to you, okay? Okay. Just be a little patient, young lady. Some of the best people I met are blue collar and educated people. Right? They have an intuitive sense of what's right, what's wrong. We have a conscience. God has given us a conscience. Intuitively, you know what's right, what's wrong. People cannot teach you. When people in Africa, sometimes, some research shown that some of the backward country, underdeveloped country, the people are more genuine, are kinder, more hospitable, they're happier, because they treat each other with sincerity, they intuitively know what's right and wrong. So, intuitively know what's right and wrong. Also, education, in kindergarten, we learn how to take turns, how to say thank you, how to say sorry, The same magic words, please, sorry, and thank you. You learn that in kindergarten. But now, we're so sophisticated. We're so sophisticated, we're educated, actually turn us into a monster.